You can see there are 5 interlinking circles. The important thing in Olympics is not to win, but to take part. So what all are the objectives of Olympics? This is not an ordinary friendship that we're talking about. It's some unique kind of a friendship that we're talking about. The tournament like Olympics, gold, silver and bronze get skipped just for the fractions of seconds. You need to know, you need to remember the names of important people in this whole chapter. Hello everybody, my name is Rohit. I take physical education on behalf of Prep School by Vidhyaashram. In today's class, we will cover the second session of Olympic movements in sports. Now, if you haven't seen the first session, I recommend you go back and see that session first and then come back and resume this session so that you could understand the whole timeline of Olympics, Olympic movement and the evolution that took place in Olympics. Now, having said that, let's carry forward with the session overview where we will look into what all topics we will be covering in this particular session. So first, we will start off with the Olympic symbol or Olympic emblem, where we will study about the significance and importance of Olympic symbol or emblem and its meaning behind it and how it has been formed. After that, we will see Olympic ideal, where we will study about different ideals of Olympics. Later after that, we will study about objectives of Olympics, where we will look into different objectives or different notions that are behind conducting Olympics. And finally, we will study about various developments of value through Olympism. So what all values are developed when you practice Olympism or Olympics, or when you practice Olympics or take part in Olympics. So having said that, let's carry forward with our first topic, that is Olympic symbol or emblem. And what does it represent? So, Olympic symbol or emblem. Now, what is the Olympic symbol or emblem? You can see there are 5 interlinking circles or interconnected circles, so as to say. And the 5 interlinking circles are again in 5 different colors: blue, black, red, yellow and green. These 5 interlinking circles represent 5 different continents. Now, you may wonder that there are total 7 continents. Then why 5 continents or 5 circles are represented here? The story behind it, I already gave that in the first session. That's why I was recommending you or suggesting you to go back and see that session first so you can understand this session much more better. But to give a quick recap or to give a brief idea, these 5 circles are there at this point of time or in the symbol, because when the symbol was made, at that time there were no 7 continents, only 5 continents were there. And the extra 2 continents that you studied in the geography also are included in these 5 continents. Now, why 5 rings are there? That explanation I already gave you. Having said that, let's try to understand what's with the pattern and why this pattern is developed. Now, you can see all these 5 circles. All these 5 different circles that you see is interlinked. It's not separated. That interlinking shows the friendship, the unity of feeling among the sportsmanship and the love towards sportsmanship and the inter-country relationship and coordination. So each of these circles represent each of the different continents, and their interlinking shows that all those notions, all those feeling in the Olympics, everybody carries the same. Now, having said that, let's go through all the points that I said about this Olympic emblem one by one. Once again, first, 5 interlinking circles to represent what? The sporting friendship of all people. Second, it also symbolizes the 5 continents. What all are those? Africa, America, Asia, Australia and Europe. Like I said, the left out 2 continents also exist in these continents, because again, when you talk about the symbol, it was made back in the days when there were only 5 continents. So you need not get confused that why the other 2 continents were left out. None of the continents are left out. All of them are included. Then we have the final statement over here, that is the colors of the rings are blue, yellow, black, green and red, as I described earlier in this topic. Now, hope you understood the meaning, pattern and the whole story behind the emblem and why it is interlinked, why there are only 5 circles, what all of does the color represent and all that things. Now let's move on to our next topic in this session, that is Olympic ideal. Now, when you talk about Olympic ideal, who gave the Olympic ideal? The Olympic ideal is given by the famous Bishop Pennsylvania. Now, according to him, in his wording, the important thing in Olympics is not to win, but to take part. The important thing in life is not to triumph, but to struggle. Then the important thing is not to have conquered, but to have fought well. That is the ideal behind Olympics, which is again given by Bishop Pennsylvania. Now, one more important thing that I wanted to remind you, that this chapter includes a lot of names and a lot of dates. I have told this thing in the first session also, but in case if you have missed out, I am reminding the same thing again. You need to know, you need to remember the names of important people in this whole chapter. Here you got again one more name, that is Bishop Pennsylvania. What is the important name over here? Bishop Pennsylvania. What is the important name again over here? Bishop Pennsylvania. In the last session we studied about Pierre de Coubertin, right? Baron de Coubertin or Pierre de Coubertin we studied, and what relevance he had in Olympics, all those things we studied. If you haven't seen again, you have to go back and check the session 1. So we have important names in this chapter. I recommend you write it down. And when we talk about Olympic ideal, you are not supposed to again read this, understand this and write it in your own words. Because many times I have explained to you that whenever a definition is asked, whenever a statement by somebody is written, you have to write it in his own words. That's why always it is given in double inverted comma, as you can see. Wherever double inverted comma is given, that means that is a statement particularly in wordings or in wordings of a person. Exactly the way that person said it. So the Olympic ideal over here is what? Once again I will repeat. The important thing in Olympics is not to win, but to take part. The important thing in life is not to triumph, but to struggle. The important thing is not to have conquered, but to have fought well. So that is the Olympic ideal that we carry, or the Olympians carry over from the ages from where the modern Olympics started. So having said that, hoping you understood the Olympic ideal, let's move on to our next topic, that is again the objectives of Olympics. So what all are the objectives of Olympics? First, to give importance to physical education and sports competition in all countries of the world. That's the first objectives of Olympic. Okay, so that's the first objective of Olympics. What is it? To give importance to physical education and sports and competitions across all the countries in the world. Then, second is to develop personality, character, citizenship quality and health among the youth. Like I said, if you take part in any physical education activity, any sports, your character improves, your personality develops, your physical strength develops, you mentally stay fit, your health becomes more better. Okay, so that's the second objective of conducting Olympics. What is the third objective? The third objective is to promote formation of good habits among sports persons so that they could live a healthy and prosperous life. Okay, what is the third objective? To promote formation of good habits among sportsmen so that they could carry a healthy and prosperous life. What is the fourth objective? To develop patriotism and fraternity among sports persons. The love towards the country, the love, the pride that you carry when you win a medal for your country, that pride, that patriotism, to develop that feeling is again one of the objectives of Olympics. What is the next objective that we have? To develop international fraternity and peace, to develop international friendship and international coordination among different countries, and to develop and to maintain peace in the world. Finally, what is the last objective that we have? Not to have discrimination on the basis of caste, race and religion. Okay, to have the feeling of unity among humanity is one of the last objectives or one of the major objectives of Olympics. I hope you understood all the objectives that we studied about Olympics. With that said, let's move on to our next topic, that is development of values through Olympism. So what all values you develop if you are an Olympian or if you take part in Olympics? The first value you develop is the value of friendship. Now, when you talk about friendship, this is not an ordinary friendship that we are talking about. It's some unique kind of a friendship that we are talking about. Because when you take part in Olympics, you are not just meeting people from your country, but you are meeting sportsmen from across the world, from different backgrounds, from different circles, from different cultures and traditions, and again, linguistic backgrounds. So, there is only one emotion that connects all of them together. That is the spirit of a sportsman, the sportsmanship spirit, the love towards the sports, the respect towards each other. So, that is one special kind of friendship that we are talking about there. So, that is one value you develop again when you take part in Olympic or if you are an Olympian. The second value you develop is the value of solidarity. We are talking about the solidarity of sportsmanship spirit, the solidarity of unity, the solidarity of humanity, the solidarity of love for the sports, the solidarity of patriotism and fraternity, and a lot of things. So the value that you develop doesn't only get implemented in the sports, but also gets reflected in your lifestyle and the way you keep your personality in the society. Now, let's look into the third value that you develop being an Olympian or taking part in Olympics. That is fair play. Now, the quality of fair play in a sportsman is very rare to see in a social or in a general circle. Because the equipments that they use, the equipments that we use in our general sports or in a general locality or for a home ground play, it can be not that accurate when it comes to accuracy and measurement. We may compromise for small little seconds or small fractions of seconds, but again in the event like Olympics or in the tournament like Olympics, gold, silver and bronze get skipped just for the fractions of seconds. So there a person, a sportsman who takes part in Olympics and becomes an Olympian gets the skill of a fair play, because there he gets to know what exactly is a fair play and how is it defined in his practical life right in front of his eyes. So that is one more quality that you develop when you take part in Olympics or when you become an Olympian. Last but not the least important value that you develop in Olympics, that is free from discrimination. So Olympics is open for all kind of people. There is always unity. There is no place for partiality. There is no place for discrimination in Olympics. All of the players are from different parts of the world. So all of them are from different religion, different background, different race, different tradition, different linguistic backgrounds. But all of them stand there at the same ground, participating in the same sport, holding the same sportsmanship spirit, respecting each other and carry forward the sport. So that develops the feeling of unity, and that is the perfect example for the statement diversity in unity. Having said that, I expect you understood all the concept that we studied today in this subject or in this topic. So in the next session, we will be covering more about Olympics. I'll give you a brief idea about what all things we'll be covering. I'll give you a glimpse. So basically, in the next session, the session number 3, we'll be studying about Indian Olympic Association, International Olympic Committee, its responsibilities and duties. Now, having given all the glimpses and small little details about the next coming session to you, I will take an off from here. I'll see you in the next session, that is the third session of our chapter. That will be the final concluding session, where I will be also giving you a small recap of the whole chapter. I hope you don't miss that. Before we get into that, I hope you cover the session 1, session 2 and then be prepared for that particular session. So this is me, Rohit, signing out until next time. Goodbye and thank you.